it was just like an impulse at the time, and it actually brought me to the point where in the past I would see someone wearing something, and I'm just going to bring you back to a point where I saw someone wearing a polka dot dress. Oh goodness, this was about, I don't know, what was it, like 10 years ago, I think. I was on the train on the underground. Yeah, when could I wear that? That's a really nice dress. I wonder where she bought that from. And because I didn't want to approach her and say, oh, where did you buy that from? Sometimes people approach me and ask me that, especially when I was wearing a coat from Mint Velvet. But I didn't approach her, so what I ended up doing is just looking online, scrolling for ages, trying to find that exact dress. Feeling frustrated at the time because I couldn't find the exact dress I was looking for. So I think I bought something that was similar at the time. And this was during the time I had no idea about natural fibres, how beneficial natural fibres are. And I'll do a video on this, but I was just looking for the surface level, just looking for something that looked nice. It's really nice, that's a really nice blazer, it's a really nice top, and you start fantasizing about where you can wear that item, and maybe you can go out and wearing that item, maybe you can wear it casually as well, and you start like playing this visual representation in your mind, the visual imagery in your mind, and you start thinking that I could wear this in this occasion. So it might be you see it online, or you may see someone wearing that item and you think, oh, that's a really nice blazer, that's a really nice top. So because your brain starts connecting that with dopamine and you start getting that dopamine hit, it's almost like a reward to get that piece, to get that key item that you're looking for. So what you end up doing is you end up searching for it. You go on the internet and you end up searching, and this, I kind of laugh about this because I've done the exact same thing. So if you've done that yourself, then you're not the only one. If I was talking to another friend of mine, and he was saying that his addiction is more to do with guitars. So everyone's got a different level of what they like and what they feel drawn to, and go into this addiction mindset. So you'd end up going on this like almost like this loop cycle. You buy the item, you feel good for, I don't know, a few days, or you wear it a couple of times, then the novelty wears off, doesn't it? And then you just push it to the side and nothing ends up changing because you stay in that same behavior pattern, and then you just buy a new item and then the whole cycle starts again. It's frustrating, but you don't realize you're doing it because it becomes anything that your brain gets used to. It becomes a behavior pattern. It's like you can train your brain to think positively, because that's possible too, but our brain is hardwired for negativity as well. But if you end up learning by repetition and your brain gets used to that, then it ends up connecting that with something positive, or that dopamine hit. But what it is just thinking about why you do this in the first place. So I spoke about that I was going through a really difficult time that I couldn't deal with, a health problem within my life that I just didn't know what to do, seeing lots of health professionals. And I felt very disconnected, but at the same time I just looked for a way to cope with what I was going through. So yours might be, it could be even boredom, you know, when we get into that boredom cycle as well, and we scroll on the internet, and then we end up finding something that we like, because the algorithm is certainly very clever in recognizing what you like, that's for sure, especially Instagram, or just the algorithm in general, isn't it? But we just have to be a little bit smart about it. And the only way I feel is just by recognising what you're doing. So you have to stop yourself and recognise the cycle that you're actually going into. Is it boredom? Is it escapism? Is that escapism away from what you're going through? So you even might be feeling stressed at work. You're just having a stressful time in your job, so you end up looking for a way to escape from what you're going through. That could even be just looking at holidays because you're feeling so stressed, or it might be just that key item that you really want to buy, or that dress, but you're thinking about going out because you just want to escape from what you're going through, or your boss is driving you up the wall. Whatever that looks like, it's a form of escapism. And unless we can recognise that and stop ourselves just in the moment, then nothing changes at all. So like with myself, trying to use things as a way to just cope with what I was going through and going through this whole scenario. If I buy this item, I can wear this at this specific time. And if I get better, great, then I can go out more often, and all these things, creating these different scenarios in my mind. And honestly, a lot of the time I didn't actually need that. And I may have just been thinking about not considering, this is my life right now, not my ideal life of what I want it to look like, and I want to be going to more events, or maybe I'm not going to many events right now. Do I really need anything for events right now? Because I wasn't very practical in the past. I would just buy things and they'd sit in my wardrobe because I try and prepare myself for the next event that I go to, rather than thinking more practically about, this is my life right now, I need to buy for my life right now, not what my ideal life, not what I imagine my ideal life should be. What I found really useful was just starting to curate a capsule wardrobe. When I just kind of started to shift things, and this was actually during the time that I was going through this health problem that I didn't know how to deal with. So I turned to fashion as a way to work through this, but also starting to understand my own habits and what I was actually doing and what I can do about it by seeing what I've already got in my wardrobe. So you might have heard about capsule wardrobes, and I did one on decluttering. I also incorporated a capsule wardrobe and what you can do in order to develop that. So I will put it in this video so you can have a look as well and just start to see what you have in your wardrobe. So this video is very helpful for this. So curating a capsule wardrobe I found very useful because it gives you the foundational pieces in order to know what to do and what you actually need as well. Another thing that was really useful for me was understanding my colour palette. So I say these things because it prevents you from buying things that you don't actually need. So if you need some basics tops, buy some basic tops. If you don't have any for the season that you're in right now, there's no reason why you can't do that. But it's not very practical buying something that you don't actually need for your ideal life is what I'm talking about. So thinking about your colour palette was really useful, and I'll give you an example. When I went out with my friends recently and we were in a shop, I was looking at this top. It was a brown top, it was a chocolate brown. I was about to try it on. Then I put it up close to me, looked in the mirror, and I saw that it's very dark. It's a very dark chocolate brown. Because I'm a soft autumn, I suit more mushroom, taupe colours, a slightly more kind of slightly lighter brown, not too dark, not too chocolatey, and not too deep in depth in terms of warmth either. So it needs to have a little bit of coolness to it. And this top didn't, and I knew that, it just washed me out. So I put it down, I didn't try it on, and I went out the shop. This was really useful because I did not know that a couple of years ago. I probably would have tried it on, thought, oh, this is nice colour, and bought it, but not thought about, does it actually suit me, does it wash me out? So that's something to keep in mind. But I'll put this colour palette video in here as well so you can check it out. And was recognising what I needed compared to what I wanted, or more of an impulse buy. So if it was basic tops, what we talked about, or just some basic skirts for the summer, that was practical. I probably only had one that I was using and it didn't fit me anymore. So that was really useful. But also curating within your bank account, because you can do this, where you can start to separate your money that you get, so your income that you get, and put it into pots rather than just keeping it all together. When it's in your bank account, you're likely to spend it. But if you separate it into pots, it's much easier and it stops you from spending, because you know the reason why you're doing what you're doing. And that's the key thing here. So have an emergency fund. So I would say that's really important. Have that as a pot, so you can do that through your bank account, where you can start to curate your various different accounts and rename them. So you just go into the settings, it tells you how to rename your account. Highly recommend doing that. I did that this year, so I found it very valuable. Have an emergency fund that you can maybe just put in £50 a month if you can. Just put in as much as you can, because you never know when you're going to need it, and it's always worth having an emergency fund. Another thing you can have is you can have a clothing fund. Why not? Typically, it's only best to spend at least 10% of your earnings. That's what they say. If you are looking to buy something, calculate your spending and only spend 10% of that. If you want to spend less than that, I would say just take out less. So it doesn't necessarily mean you're going to spend it this month. You might decide you will not spend anything this month, and maybe next month you will. Or you may go another month without spending anything, but at least you've got some savings there specifically for a clothing fund that you can just start to put together. And then you can start to separate your other money as well, so having a private pension. You can use apps like 212 app. That's a really good app, and the reason I really like the 212 trading app is because it's one of the best in terms of an ISA. A lot of ISA accounts, especially bank accounts, don't have very good interest rates. So I will say 212 trading is much better in terms of interest rates. So depending on, sometimes their deals, they can be from 4% or 4% or just over 4%. And with bank accounts, we're looking about 1% now. They never used to be this low, but now they are. So I highly recommend it. But some, obviously, if you're not looking at an ISA, you might be looking at a digital savings account. But with a digital savings account, you might have a high interest rate, but that doesn't mean that you don't pay tax on it. With an ISA, you don't pay tax on your income. So that's something to keep in mind. 212 trading account as well, they have a stocks and shares. So if you're not familiar with stocks and shares, you see lots of different shares, stocks and shares on the 212 trading account. So you can look at what you want to invest in. And there's plenty of videos on how to do this as well. Lastly, when you go into a shop, this is really helpful for me. If I feel that urge, because sometimes you will feel this urge and it never goes away. If you've had this for a long time and you just feel this feeling the way you want to buy something, you still need to stop and ask yourself, breathe, because when you breathe, that switches on the prefrontal cortex. We're also helping to activate the parasympathetic nervous system as well, especially if you're in a stressful state or stress with your boss. And then it switches back on the prefrontal cortex, responsible for reasoning and decision making. So that's really important to do that. And then ask yourself a couple of questions. Do I need this right now? When am I going to wear this? And do I have something similar in my wardrobe? See, I've made this mistake in the past where I've bought something that was similar to what I already had. And I was still umming and ahhing about it. Should I buy it? I bought it in the end, but I did have something similar. Was it worth it? I don't know. Let me know in the comments below if you've had this experience as well. I'd love to know your thoughts in the video below, what your experience has been like. And also, if you found this video helpful, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, because it always helps to boost the algorithm and it helps this channel, so I really appreciate it. And let me know your thoughts as well with spending, and if you've got any tips that I haven't shared in this video, put it in the description below. And again, thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next video.